Welcome back to Euronews Tonight. It's great to have you with us. I'm here in the heart of the European Parliament. I'm at the bridge looking at EU reactions to that fire in the Moria camp in Lesbos. And earlier this morning, I had the chance to speak to Ylva Johansson. That's the EU Commissioner for Home Affairs and Migration. She said that she was sending one of the commissioners, Margarita Skinas, to the camp as soon as possible. She was calling as well on the Greek government to call for emergency assistance. She said that the EU Commission was also helping out with regarding evacuating that camp as soon as possible, making sure that children, pregnant women and young children were being looked after first. But when I asked her how member states would be getting involved in showing solidarity, this is what she had to say.
EU Commission will of course continue helping those member states that are having the heaviest burden when it comes to irregular arrivals, but of course that should be in good living conditions and not under the condition that we have seen in Moria, that has been unacceptable living conditions. And I think that's why it's so important that we have been able to, the last 6 months, to evacuate more than half of the migrants out of this camp in Moria.
Now, meanwhile, here at the European Parliament in Brussels, a silent protest was held. Over 100 people got together outside the European Parliament to shed light on the plight of migrants and call on the European Commission and, of course, on EU member states to do more and essentially show some solidarity. Now, that protest was organised by Damien Busselager. He is a German MEP. He's from Volt Europe, but he sits on the European Green Party here in the European Parliament, and he joins us tonight on the bridge. Damien, thank you so much for speaking to Euronews. And tell me, first of all, what was the main message of that silent protest tonight?
We tried, first of all, to show solidarity with the people who tonight will probably sleep without shelter, because, as you said, there are around 13,000 people who had to flee the camp of Moria due to the huge fire. So that's the first message. And the second message is definitely that we need to do something. First of all, to immediately assess the situation and actually immediately help these people. And second of all, in the more long term, ensure that this never happens again.
Now, we spoke to Ylva Johansson today, the European Commissioner for Migration, and she said she was doing what she could, what she was capable of. She, of course, inherited a very difficult portfolio from Dimitri Avramopoulos. What do you expect her to do now immediately?
The operational support, and that's what I said needs to be done now, is to evacuate the camp right now and to ensure that people don't sit on the streets or next to the ashes of the burned camp, but that they actually get healthcare, that they get shelter, that they get food right away. And the second thing is to ensure that they get evacuated across the European Union, relocated to other places of the European Union, so that they don't, get put into another camp, just rebuilt with the same kind of model on the still warm ashes. That is really important as a first step.
And this camp, of course, is funded with EU money, and it's no secret that it's been overcrowded for a number of years, but it seems that many politicians have just been turning a blind eye.
And that's absolutely true. I think the European Union has spent more than €1 billion already on these supports in Greece and other countries, and that's a lot of money, but you can't really see it on the ground. So I went in November to have a look what the situation actually looks like. And back then there were more than 20,000 people in the camp, all just sleeping basically on the floor. I mean, the original camp has a capacity of around 3,000 people. So you can imagine if there are 20,000 people in a camp for 3,000, how and what this looks like. So that's absolutely unacceptable, but it was somehow not enough to make politicians, especially on the member state level and basically in the nations and on the Commission, act.
And you were there in November, so that was before, of course, that camp was put into lockdown.
Back then I was already feeling ashamed to be a European parliamentarian, because I was representing a system in that sense that didn't find a humane answer for these people. And I actually heard then that this camp had been going on for this for some time already, for some years already. And then afterwards, Corona, the threat of Corona breakout in these camps came. And again, we were screaming, evacuate these camps, because this is obviously, the perfect grounds for a large infection, because around 1,000 people use the same kind of water supplies. They have to queue for hours to get their food. So, that was the second instance when I was really thinking, okay, now something is going to happen. But it was not enough to make people act and to make the governments act. And now this fire just shows again how vulnerable these people are and how we're completely leaving them alone and neglecting our European values and responsibility.